and just to add some of the glimpse at the field level, okay, which we have identified, or which we are realizing currently, being in the space of since last 3-4 years, so which I personally term this as the digital transformation journey for the enterprises, right? So when I say the digital transformation journey, it starts with the digitization, and then it gradually moves to the digitalization, and then it will transform the complete that particular business process with the hyper intelligent automation mechanism. So that the digitization, the digitalization, as well as the digital transformation. I'll just give you one example, right? So when we have like the typical invoices physical mode which are coming into the the business, right? And when you convert those invoices into the scanned copy, it became your the digitization documentation, right? And once you have that digitization document, then you have your journey open for the digitalization, where the RPA and other the technologies coming into the picture, taking those invoices, processing those invoices, kind of stuffs are the customers are doing it. And in terms of the current the trends which are going like the intelligent automation, as well as the hyper intelligent automation kind of thing, where the customers are transforming the entire the invoice processing kind of journey, starting from getting the invoice into the system, getting it approved, it giving it to the robot to process it, with the OCR mechanisms, some AI mechanisms to take the decision on those invoices, and then to process those invoices end to end. So this is the fair a good example how the industry is trending towards the digital transformation trends. Yeah. So in terms of sorry. So in terms of taking the right automation strategies with the innovations, like so we as a company taking the customer centric as well as the complete digital transformation approach with our the kind of the resilient, as well as the agile of our solutions as well as the services. And apart from
who cannot agree with Murli? Sorry. Who cannot agree with
No, absolutely. Rightly pointed, those things are also, demanding by the customer from the partners as well. So that is, the very true, statements Murli has been making. Apart from that, what customers are also, demanding in terms of, the solutions which are already deployed in their environment, as a, the automation solutions are like, previously, before the COVID scenarios, right? The automation has two, types. One is which we call is as a, the attended automation, and second we call it as a unattended automation, right? So before, pre-COVID scenarios, customers are, almost, in favor to, build the, the attended automation. Why? Because they have, workforce on the, the system or in the offices to, the trigger the robots and do the, that automation task which has been, completed by the robots, right? But, with this, the COVID situations, since, everybody is working from home, and, the efficiency is really lesser in terms of the outputs and everything, right? And the mechanism, right, the remote working mechanisms are very tough in these situations to handle. With these scenarios, customers are also demanding the kind of unattended automation, where they don't require humans to trigger those kind of robots, and they also demanding kind of the end-to-end automation, which I termed it as the digital transformation. Why? Right? Because the previously they just supply with going to my the first example. So previously they just need to just supply, the kind of the bulk of invoice to the robot to process, the invoices, right? Now no one is there in the offices. Now what happens in those scenario is, the unattended automations will require, and end-to-end process automation is required with unattended kind of mechanism, to transform that complete processes during this scenario. So that is also, the kind of, the demands which we are, facing from the customers. Sure, Deepak. And also, agree with Sid as well, right? Because some remote agility channels are already improving during this COVID scenarios. So I also, want to highlight some of the couple of more channels, like, for example, the deliveries which are already, being made on the remote agility channels, along with, uh, the another two channels which are very important in this kind of scenarios are support channels, as well as, the marketing channels, right? So, so those channels are, still, as Sid said, we can do each and everything via, for example, video calls and all, right? But situations are still there, in the countries like India, when, people are not seeing, face to face. We cannot, understand what is going through their minds, and how we can, close those deals. But in case of, in case of exception scenarios, it will definitely helping, companies, small companies like us, to close the deals, global levels. But, the support channels, as well as, marketing channels, are also going to be, the completely, it will going to be changed with, these hyper intelligent automation mechanisms. So that is what we also, which we have identified, and I'm sure Murli knows, we have, very competitive, solutions around it, on the support channels as well as on the marketing channels.